Okay,
Send
you're
the link.
welcome to Opinion Sharers. My name is Paul, and today I have a full house. We're going to be talking about the unfortunate news over the week, which I saw 20 million out of school children in Nigeria. And this is especially at a time where many places in Nigeria across the country are not safe. There's banditry, there's kidnapping, there is terrorism, and all of those things. Yet you have kids whom education could rescue from poverty, whom education could rescue from joining bad gangs, from being available to the recruitment of terrorists. Unfortunately, they are not out. They are out of school. So, and personally, as someone that is interested in education, early childhood education aspects, I feel really concerned when I saw this. So, and I'm glad that other people on this platform are also passionate about the country and education, and that's why we're going to be discussing it today. So, before we go into the discussion, as usual, I would ask that you please help us share the link. So, if you are using a mobile phone like I do, please let us go to Facebook and quickly, sharp, sharp, let's share it. And then I will come and introduce my guests to you, and then we go into the discussion proper. So let's quickly share, 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 share. Please, if you're looking at me, if you're watching this video now, please help us share it. Okay. I'm coming. I just want to share it. I'm still looking for the link. I can't seem
Okay,
to
let me
find.
send it to you then.
Please. Thank you. If you're looking at me, if you're watching this, please help us share the link. Thank you, sir. Sene. If you're looking at me, if you're watching this, okay. Now I'm trying to share it to some groups. Sharp, sharp. Okay. I beg more gonna share. Help us share, 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 share. Okay, so let's go into the discussion now. But before then, let's quickly introduce ourselves, just in case there may be first-time viewers who may not know us. So please introduce yourself briefly, starting with the village boy.
I am the village boy. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay.
Those of you are muted.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the show again this Saturday. I'm Citizen Oluwatosi.
All right. Thank you. Tonight.
And I am Timileyin Oguntuyaki. Thanks so much for joining.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. So, if you look at the screen, the first agenda on the screen is that there are 20 million out of school children in Nigeria. I'm going to start with Village Boy because Village Boy is also a teacher by background and a teacher, a PhD holder. So, what's I'm sure you must have seen the news. What comes to mind when you saw this?
Well, the news is not new. And I mean, contextually, when you look at this, it is supposed to be sad, but it has passed a sad state. Because when you look at it holistically, even those that are supposed to be in school, by the grace of the Almighty Azu, they'll be at home for how many months? The truth is that education has collapsed in Nigeria. Even those that are going to school, have you seen the condition of classrooms? Have you seen in 21st century where students are learning under the tree? Have you seen classroom where students are sitting in a flooded classroom on a block? Come on. Those that are on the street are almost better off sometimes. Sarcastically speaking here. The truth is that we have neglected what's supposed to be the most important instrument of development, which is education. A government that cannot educate our people, that government is worse than a failure. Even in the area where we say education is our industry, look at the situation now. There is a total collapse of education. Now there are also factors, the motivating factors that they say school is now a scam. How does school become a scam? I've written, essentially about this. The other time I told the story of my uncle, big uncle Jacob Akeke, who told me, look, as wise as he was, that nobody can make him the headmaster of a primary school because it was not lettered. I think we have left education as inconsequential. And the rot we are witnessing today, it's even just the beginning. Pause and ask yourself, what will it be in the next 5 years? Because we're actually not doing anything to address the issue. We are not even doing anything to slow down the rot in the education system. 20 million, for once, it seems that it looks, I used to say that our figures are exaggerated. This is one figure that I believe is even less than what it should be. Of course, we don't trust the authenticity of money figure coming from that arena. There will be more than 20 million who are out of this thing. If you go to those who just wear uniform, if you calculate because people wear uniform, I go to some place which they call school. If you call that one education, maybe that if you want to talk in terms of functional education that the kind of education that you received, not even talk about our was even more qualitative. The one you even receive, I mean, it was still not that bad. If you want to equate it with that, in terms of real education, we have more than 20 million out of school system.
Oh, wow.
That's my opinion. Strictly my opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm surprised that you were not surprised, though. Timlai, now, as a researcher, do you think we should trust this data coming from UNICEF?
I mean, I don't have the I don't have the power to say this data could not be trusted, or it could be. But I share the same sentiments with the village boy that these figures might just be concocted. But the fact that it's coming from an organization that is widely and globally respected, it is very easy for us to say, yeah, it could be true. But the point is, even if it is true, isn't it shameful for the so-called giant of Africa? Isn't it shameful? And I will look at it from the economic standpoint. The point at which we are in Nigeria today is if you do not have money, you do not have anything. So there are countries where you can live And if you don't have money, when I say you don't have money, it doesn't mean you don't live or you are not doing the basic things people should do in life, but you don't have excess money, you can still survive. But in Nigeria today, if you don't have money, I mean, if you don't have excess money, you would be doomed. Why? Because you are practically not going to be doing anything. So, like the village boy said, actually, if you are, he was saying, if you are calculating the number of students based on those that have school uniforms on and they are heading to a place they call school. Yeah, that is very true for public schools. But there are still many people in Nigeria that have the means to pursue private education for their wards. But the question is, how many are they? So if you look at it from the economics, even up to the university level, there is practically nothing you can achieve without money in Nigeria today. Now, where is the money? The big question is, where is the money? Where are the industries for people to be gainfully, not just employed? I see many people say they are employed in Nigeria, in Lagos, and they get like 75,000 naira. In those days, if you had 75,000 naira and if you were getting 75,000 naira per month, you are a king. Like, you are a king. But now, with the present economy, like, what can you do with such salary or take home? And now to think you want to start having children and sending them to school and do some other things. So what I would just say is that, just like the village boy said, the level of terrorism we have in the country today is because some set of people decided to say school is something people should not pursue, and it is against the will of God for people to pursue school. That's one thing. And now the one you mentioned, I think it was you or the village boy, that school na scam. Some people are actually peddling that mantra as well. Those ones are even, they are not really, they are not extreme. They are not taking it, they are not violent. So there is a difference between people trying to convince you against pursuing education, and from another set of people to say, if you go to school, we kill you, or these people that are already in school will take them out of it. And this is to tell you what the level of productivity or efficiency of our leaders are, if we have any anyways. Because we just saw the news yesterday that a particular man who was negotiating for terrorists, I hope I'm not preempting things, that the man,
Yeah.
I am, okay, so I just keep it at that. But the point is, in Nigeria of today, like the village boy said, education is a total disgrace and it is in shambles. And we shouldn't even be calling it education anymore, especially if you are looking at it from the public perspective and not the private school. Because I know some people will be listening to this, and while the village boy was making mention of some point, they will say, oh, well, my son goes to so school and is doing well. But look at yourself and count, out of over 200 million Nigerians, how many people can afford such? And look at it from the north, south, east, west, from all angles, and look at it holistically, as the village boy said. We are in deep mess.
I guess so. You're right. I guess we're in trouble. Anyway, Tosin, I'm going to ask you a generic question. So just speak it anyhow you can. And the question is simple. How did we get here? I hope that is not like punishment.
It's not it's not simple. It's not simple, I beg.
How do we get here?
Yeah, because it's just I don't know what to say really. Just try, attempt it.
We got here with bad leadership, and bad citizens also. That's the followers. It is not the whatever is happening in Nigeria today that makes it bad. It is not only, it's just that the leaders have the highest chunk of the fraud. citizens also were at fault. So we got here when we, especially from 1999. Before then, education might be bad though. I'm not saying education is 100% too, but since 1999, that we have gone into democracy and that some certain people have decided to leave politics for some certain people only to be the alpha and omega of politics, going to public offices, holding public offices. That's we got it wrong from that point. We got it wrong from the point where people that suffered, people that fought for democracy, when it is time for them to participate, to become a politician, they step back and thinks being a politician is bad. We got it wrong from there. And those people try later to come back, but it was too late to cry when the head is cut off. They are still trying today, but let's see if they can make a difference. So we got it wrong from then because you cannot give what you don't have. The person there today as a president is of questionable educational background. And people have since asked questions, answers are not being proven instead of answers to questions that people have been asked about his own educational background. It is defense and asking the court to strike out the case. You don't need the court to strike out a case against you that you are not educated or that a certificate does not belong to you. You don't need even your 70 something year picture to be on your YX certificate. No. So people that does not have something, we want them to give us what they don't have. Fella of blessed know, he say, he say, they cannot give us human rights. That those that don't have, they cannot give us. So that is where we start getting it wrong. Putting the unqualified people, bad people, incompetent people, those that is very glaring to us that they cannot get there and effect a change. Those that it is glaring to our that they don't have the capacity to lead a country. Putting them there because they are of our religion, because they are from our tribe, because they are from our state, because they are of age, putting them there lead us to where we are today. The one we are not talking about also very well is removing history from the curriculum. When they get there, those bad guys, when they get there, they remove history so that you and I and our kids will not know how bad they have been in time past and how they have stolen our money. So we literally get there also by citizens. That's the leaders. Now the citizens. How do we get there? By not participating in politics, by leaving politics and say it's a dirty game. Let us leave it for them. Let the politicians do it. On election day, everybody on to their tent, watching TV, reading newspaper, play football on the street. A young boy that should be voting for who is going to lead his country. They are there playing football. And that is why they are home now. And even if they are home now, for how many months? Have you seen any of them coming together, protesting against that or speaking against that? Even if they cannot go to the street and protest so that they will not be killed like what happened during Hensa. Can't they take over the internet and shut it down? That they are at home, they are not doing anything? What do they do? Okay, let's, for now, they are being serious. Let's see if they can make a change in the coming election.
Animals can't dash me. Human rights.
Human rights, God bless you. God bless you. Animal can't dash us human rights because it's the animals.
Okay, now. So, one thing that I took from what Tosin said was that Buhari set bad precedents, but he's not the only one that started like that, But anyway, that's just one aspect of it. I'm going to proceed to the next question, and I would like if BH Boy would touch light a little bit at that question, how did we get here? But the main question that I wanted to ask you is actually this. I want us, all of us, the four of us, I want us to do an introspection. Okay? Let's sincerely look at ourselves. Let's take away imaginary. Just imagine it in your mind. And those who are viewing this broadcast right now, and those who will view it later, just as you are, imagine that you were not educated. That your primary school, even though it was in the village, you didn't have that education. The secondary school, you did not have it. And if you did not have that too, definitely you couldn't have had a post-secondary education. So let's now assume without that foundational education that you had in Ikiti. Timlai, where will you be if that education that you had, if you didn't have it? Same thing, Tosin. So, village boy, I hope it is not complicated now.
No, nothing is complicated there. The thing is like if you two questions for me, if you are going to look at the other one, it's just like they said the Amukwerewo only Okelenwe Sale. So there it's the well how we got to it is not as simplistic as Tosin presented it. It's beyond Buhari regime, right? They contributed to it, no doubt about it. Most of this issue I've documented in my book. So our education started really before it started with okay, it became catch and carry, which I trace back to Babangida era, whereby you have 2-1 or 2-2, irrespective of your course, you can work in the bank. So students were going to school to literally buy certificates. I had a story of a lecturer that a student who was building a student came to his house and measured all the rooms that he was going to rug it, that all he needed for him to do for him is like he should ensure that he gets his 2-1 because there's a job already waiting for him in the bank. So people were no longer going to school to seek knowledge. They were going to school to acquire certificates. And when you go to the bank, many of us who are in the finance-related courses, we have had issues with them. I've had issues where I took my bank statement and my calculator to the bank, and I was having serious argument with the bank officials. I suppose, you mean you are contesting bank statement? I said, yes, I am contesting because it was wrong. And I pointed to them that I was wrongly debited. I was not debited. I was not credited for the amount I paid in. They wrongly credited another bank, another account. So instead of not crediting me back, they now debited me twice, removing my own money. There are a lot of things that has been happening with our education system. Then, when the private school system started, our government neglected public school completely. Where government going to government school public school became no longer the fashion. That is where the collapse became imminent. Because yes, you want to send your child to nursery school so that they can speak English, they can speak phonetic and everything. Many of us also who live in the city became a victim of that. So much that many of our children cannot even speak our local language. That is a whole lot of seminar on that. If you want to go in deep to that, it's not something we can discuss in 1 or 2 hours. There are so many pieces of it. Now, going back to your question that you asked all of us, I've told you, one-on-one, Paul, that I sat my children and I told them, look, if I was born under the country I was born at this time in Nigeria, that I would not go to school. And they asked me because my parents would have been able to afford private school. So what would have been my choice? I either become a village power tapper, marry about 5 or 7 wives, because I would just all my excess time I will just be impregnating women. I'll give back to children because I will need the children for my farm. So I'll be there, power tapper, maybe growing cassava and some vegetable and yam and eating my 3-year pounded yam, chasing rabbits, I mean, killing rodents, did something, and
Okay.
but let go get so and of
Àwọn èèyàn
course
ti pòkété tán lẹ́kìtì gan sí.
so that because there's no more bush again. So we'll be chasing that one. Of course, in between, snake will also chase us. So that's what I'll be doing. I will maybe by now I will look like a 80-year-old man. So and of course, I will have those children. I will not care about them. All I will concern them. I will use them as a factor of production, labor. I take them to farm, and of course, I will have either I have my day gun or I have my rubber catapults that like the one that David used to get Goliath, and I'll be killing bird and that's what I'll be doing. Or maybe if I want to look a bit more, then maybe I will go and learn photography. So again, that will also lead to marry so many wives anyway. So that would have been the option. Very sad. That's the sad reality. If you're interested, without education, I wouldn't be here. Without education, none of us will be here. So, and if I didn't have that education, there was no guarantee that those I will produce will also have. So it now becomes difficult to overcome generational poverty. They used to say in the Kizigwe, Rameta or Kintoshi. I don't know whether that aspect of whether it is said, at least that's where I grew up. I mean, and I would have, I think I was the third generation. So maybe I would have transferred poverty to the next generation. That one would have become meaningless because there was no how I would have, who knows? I mean, I've even begun because at the end of the day, apart from having wives, you will also me. If you give it individually, you must also by convention have some concubine. And if Magu is real or not real, maybe you are gone. I may have begun.
Okay, so I want you to keep that thoughts in you. I'm going somewhere, okay?
Okay.
We are going to have our turn on this particular experiment. Just doing introspection and imagining. So Village Boy has literally painted what he would have been doing now. So let's just put it in mind, and then let's go to Timlei. Timlei, I want you to also attempt the two questions. How did we get here briefly, and then move on to give us an insight into what would you have been without your primary and secondary education, talk less of a university education.
Ha!
And you are in Nigeria.
That would be very dark. It will be because the movie that Village Boy just produced now is is an horror movie. It will be dark. But when I was going to school in for primary and secondary school, for my primary and secondary education, so I actually knew a lot of people who were not in school and what they became. In my own, I lived in Ile-Ife, so I have many people who didn't go to school and what they turned out to be. I can actually make mention of one or two things. So these are options for people who did not go to school. It was very easy to become a mechanic apprentice in my environment. It was very, very easy. There were not many farms, so I don't know if I could have become a farmer. But to become a mechanic apprentice, a barber, a photographer, it was easy to become a bus conductor and driver. So
driver.
Oh, Okada driver. I mean, yeah. So that came up when I was growing up. So
Driver, not driver.
no, driver different from rider. So those are the most probable things that could have happened. And if I am very lucky, because in my clan, business runs in my clan, so I could have become a trader also. So that's a huge, in fact, that's the most possible I could have become, a trader. So I don't know if I would have done well or otherwise. But this education is very important. I cannot even imagine. The way I'm talking about it now, I'm feeling sorry for my potential self if I didn't go to school. I'm actually feeling I'm feeling sorry for myself, for my potential self. I didn't go to school. So it's going to be a very dark movie.
Okay. Now, Tosin, let's have what Baba Jesha would have looked like without without any education.
Ibesigi Adamana.
If I didn't have education, what would I have become? I've become a tout, Agbero, on the street of Lagos. Really. I would have become Agbero, bus conductor, Agbero, riding Okada, or Agbero.
Hmm.
That was maybe fighting boxing. But maybe dead now. Very Monagiti, maybe dead now. But thank God. Now I don't even have no long. I don't have anything too long to just Agbero because it got to a time that I was going in that direction. But thank God. So it will not be nice. Not for my vacation. Maybe Agbero by now because I was in Lagos. I was many times on the street of Lagos also playing football from one end to another. There was a time I go register and learning boxing at Sundos.
Partially.
Coach Jubela, that's the name of my coach. Baba Jubela was the name of my. When my dad heard of it, he said, over the talk Gizeko, he sent me to Kwara State to Ilorin to finish my school. So just thank God. But if not, I'll be a thug now.
And you would have been very useful for politicians.
Definitely. Lepo. Especially because he was in Lagos, he would have been very useful. Maybe he would have become a second command to one chairman.
Yeah, the one garage
Ijesha,
shama.
Ijesha Tedo.
Oh. Jesha Tedo or Itire or Aguda
Oh,
or Alawansi.
and
Odoeran.
the touts in those places they are on another level.
And these are people I know by name now, also know me that I know very well. In fact, their name is even coming to a head. Like,
Well, it's quite unfortunate. I guess if I was in Ekiti and didn't have any kind of education, I think the picture that village boy painted probably would. The village boy's picture probably would be more fitting for me. I would have at least I would have at least maybe two wives now. At least maybe have
just coming up.
series of children, and we'll be going to and be fighting seriously over farm and the tree. Or maybe I probably would have graduated to driver too. Or perhaps started as a conductor, driving Okada also. And but the farm would have been the major thing because we have a lot of farms. So I would probably would have àwọn ìyàwó oníyàwó oríṣiríṣi wọn bá tẹ́ lọ́wọ́ mi. Oh man. So you see, if for our viewers, what we are doing is like according to this UNICEF report now that there are 20 million out of school children in Nigeria currently. So what I'm doing is making us imagine a situation where we had no education. I wish that people that are viewing, that are watching us now can also participate. Let us know what you would have become without education, without primary education, without secondary education. I mean, obviously, if you don't have the two, you will not have tertiary or post-secondary education experience as well. So where will you be if you imagine it? Cast your mind back, because the people that are in Nigeria today that has no education, they are also Nigerians like you and I, right? And something will happen to them. They will also find themselves in certain situation. So I want us to imagine ourselves, in a situation where this education wasn't available to us. So now, in rounding up this experiment, I want us to look at what's going to happen. What's likely going to happen to these children? And if whatever it is that happened to them, what's going to become of the country? I mean, we are crying now. We are crying, we are shouting now, we are wailing, as the politicians will say that some people are wailing, you know. But what will happen if you have 20 million more children in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, who are no education? What's going to happen? Let's have a village boy, because village boy will soon leave.
The truth is that if nothing is done, the number will continue to increase. If you also look, speaking seriously now, this same demography, they produce more children than anyone else. So they multiply themselves more than an average educated family. What do you have? 2, 3, even some are even going for one child now. Maximum 4 now, because of the high cost of education. So these guys, when they go out, they come back, the only vacation or the only vocation they have is to procreate. So they procreate more. So if nothing is done as the current state, in the next 10 years, that figure will have become 50 million. And the more this number expand, the more, unfortunately now, even going back to the picture I painted, this demographic now are not even interested in farming. They don't want to go to farm. They would rather do Bet Niger. They would rather do Yahoo. They would rather. So you will see that, and these are things that they are not sustainable. These are things that has no future longevity. You are playing Niger, Bet Niger. What is mean? They are not. These are what we call non-pensionable career or service. You don't collect pension playing Bet Niger. You don't collect pension even doing Yahoo. Yes, you can check out some once in a while, but then it's not going to be forever. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's difficult for me to even imagine what it will look like the next 10 years if nothing is done. Unless we address the tide. Again, it is not just by throwing money at it. It is about going back first, revive the public education.
Mm.
And if you cannot revive public education, I'm not saying children going to school, to primary school, and breaking a melon. Teacher, that's not the schooling. That's not the school we had. I'm saying public school where children can go to school and be educated, and up to secondary school, make primary and secondary school free and compulsory. They have to go. Then for them to go, you have to have the physical infrastructure. Most of the schools now, most of the schools that many of us attended, it is household boys. They are begging us to come and repair them. They are dilapidated. Most of these old schools that we attended depend now heavily on old students, old schools, old student association. We have to probably bring education back to the state level. Remove the hand of federal government, if possible, from education completely. especially for primary and secondary. Let it be state and local government that handle them. Do emergency recruitment or training of teachers, like we used to have as also train teachers during public holiday, during the long vacation. Create a kind of emergency. And as it is now, you have to, unfortunately, during our time, we had the motivation, this inner motivation to go to school. Now you have to incentivize people, these children. You have to give them something to come to school. You have to literally bribe them now to come to school. You have to do something that will attract them to come to school. Unless we do this, a kind of, this is where we need real revolution. Apology to Suwore. This is where we need real revolution. If you cannot fix education in Nigeria, we are going nowhere. So restore public education. Restore public primary school, restore public secondary schools. After secondary school, solid secondary school, let everybody do whatever he wants to do. But if you have that solid foundation, I think we can we'll be, otherwise, next 10 years it will be worse.
Now, this sometimes this morning, this was
I have
one
to
on
leave. As I've explained to you, I have to have that meeting. So
yes.
I wish you guys good deliberation. Thank God Tosi is not going to be serving the politicians now. He's not attacking the politicians. Maybe because he lost that position, that's why he's attacking them now. That's on the line. All right. I wish you guys continue deliberation.
Yeah. All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So earlier today, the question you see on the screen now was what one of my mentee posted to me today. She asked me this: did you know that early childhood education is a lifelong determinant of health and well-being? I say yes. Now, the research I'm currently working on is even surrounding this. All right. But I feel like it's unfortunate that many people don't understand this, or maybe our leaders, people who are supposed to know, people who are supposed to be gatekeeper for us, they don't know that when you don't have early childhood education, it affects people like me. How much more? And we are still struggling, Now, imagine people who don't even have anything at all. No early childhood education, no primary school, no secondary school. How are they going to survive in today's world? People that have self, they are struggling. So now I want us to go to the concluding part of this discussion, which is the Mamu. I don't know if Timleyin has read the news. Mamu, are you aware that he was arrested? What do you think? What do you make of it? That arrest?
It is not surprising.
I've heard a lot of people saying maybe the government just want to embarrass him, or just want to at least hold somebody responsible.
That he was arrested was actually not surprising, but the one that I'm anticipating is that of Sheikh Gumi. That one is more vocal, more outspoken about terrorism and advocating for them. I don't know how on earth someone will come out and advocate for a terrorist or a terrorist.
I actually heard on the TV that this guy is the media spokesperson of Gumi.
Okay, so that makes sense to me now, because so it might be a cover-up for a bigger person. That's what I think, because Nigerian government, we know that if they really want to go after you, they will go after you. And for them to now say they have gone extra mile to intercept him in Egypt, it was not even intercepted in Nigeria. It was at the international airport at an international airport in Egypt. So it speaks volume. So I have been anticipating that many politicians, big people, they are behind all of these damages happening to Nigeria in terms of insecurity. So it is really not surprising. But what I know is that there is more to it than just the arrest of that man. There is more to it. So most of what they recovered from his home, from his residence in Kaduna, is I think it is military kit and a lot of foreign currencies. I mean, if he has explanation for that, that would be great. But what I know is that the DSS has something they are covering up also. They have something, or maybe they have not gotten to the very bottom of that investigation. That's a possibility. But what I feel is that if you know this person that is actually negotiating for such people, you are not supposed to even say it out for now. It's supposed to be a secret intelligence. It's supposed to be a secret information. It's supposed to be a secret investigation until you get to the bottom. So this is more like alerting everybody connected to him that, okay, we are coming after you, or if you have to run, please run, things like that. But I would quickly like to talk about what we just finished discussing, which is because I believe some group of people might be feeling that why are these people commonizing certain trades, like being a trader or being a rider or being a driver or being a bus conductor or something like that. I want to let you know that even in Western world, people do this job and it is gainful employment, and they wear their honor as a badge while doing it. So the important thing is that in those days, when people even went for this kind of jobs, they actually went to secondary school where they had been taught social education, civic education, government. So they know their rights as a citizen and they know their responsibility as a part of a nation. So when that is lacking, then terrorism, vandalizing, unleashing terror on other people is inevitable. And most especially, trying to avoid electioneering processes. Because if you know your right, if you were taught government in secondary school and you did social studies to a certain extent in the primary school, there is some kind of residual knowledge that you will have. And when you go out there, people will know you are educated. Let them call it half education or whatever. I have so many administrative officers, senior administrative officers in government, in universities, who only went to secondary school, technical schools, and they turned out well. And if you see them today, you can actually place them side by side university professors. Why? Because the kind of education they received. I mean, in Nigeria, the kind of education they received. Look at those people in the set of village boy and upward. They received quality education. So even if all they attended was secondary school, you would see it that they have gone to school. Now, imagine someone that has not been to school, may probably just did social studies and elementary science, integrated science, and technical drawing in primary school and graduated, and then went straight to becoming a trader. You would even not have basic communication skills, customer service skills. But when you go to secondary school and you are taught computer science, communication, general knowledge, CRK, Islamic religious studies, all of these, civic education, government, social science, social studies, accounting, these are basic things. See, what primary and secondary education, quality primary and secondary education offers is just a way of life, how you can maneuver this life, whether you go forward or you stay stagnant on that education level. You are able to pull through life. You are able to make simple sentence. You are able to have emotional intelligence to an extent, but not the kind of education we have out there today. And that is why we have to talk about it. It is not as if my mom is a trader, so I'm not commonizing the the job of a trader or an Okada rider. But if you see an Okada rider that does things with sense, that has been to school, you would know, different from one that did not attend school at all. So this is just trying to draw the line between, commonizing or trivializing a particular trade and talking about the influence of education, overall influence of education on whatever trade you choose to pursue.
Thank you very much for for calling our attention to that particular aspect. My dad does not have modern school, but he is as brilliant in his days. He's 80 years old now. But when I knew him, he was like a professor. Everybody respect him in the village. Even when the captain is speaking, even though he went on to the army and retired as a captain, but during those periods, if they are in the palace, people are talking, they will say, wait until captain contributes before they can. Without his contribution, they cannot finish the conversation, you know. So, meanwhile, that's also an education. So, what we are saying is minus all of that. Because basic education, like primary and secondary school, will give you. I mean, I have friends who are in the US who doesn't have more than that. They are Native American. I have a Native American who does not have more than that, and is doing very well, and doing perfectly okay. So we cannot take that away. That's very important. That's education actually, because what you go to do in the university, like or in college of education, a teacher. And we go to polytechnic, you go to do a specialization. Anyway, Tosin, um, this Mamu issue. What's your opinion on that? We are rounding up soon.
Okay, thank you. My opinion is that there are many more of them out there, as Mr. Timilay have said. There are many more of them out there, and it will be a thing of joy to see this government fighting terrorism, kidnapping, banditry, or whichever name they choose to call it, fighting it wholeheartedly before they leave office. Bearing it in mind that before they assume power, this problem has been there, but not as pronounced as this. And also, these are their promise in 2014, 2015 election, saying they are going to secure our people. But what we get is the other way. So it is a welcome development. It is a welcome development if they are sincere in it. If they are sincere in it, because you are running after their negotiator. Meanwhile, you know their camp, and you don't have the balls to go bomb them. And even the army are saying, we want to go and fight, but there's a restriction stopping us from go and confronting these people. So who is bringing those restrictions? Who is they have a lot of work to do, even in the army, even in Nigerian military, they have a lot of work to do. And let's hope this is the beginning of that work. Let's hope this work will, going forward, will bring more more uh, more results, and our people will be more secure. Hopefully, but well, I will not preempt that. I don't see that happening because we still have many people that have passion, compassion, that's, that have soft feelings for the terrorists. But let's hope that this will bring more results. And
Okay, you want to quickly talk about this your app?
thank you very much. Afro Palace. Yeah, I just got the news now. We have been on it for several months, fighting for it to be on iOS. But thank God, as we're on the show now, the email just came through that welcome to iOS. I'm so excited. I cannot even hide it. I'm so excited. And we hope that in the next 1, 2 days it will be released for download on iOS, and that time we'll have full publications, and it will be everywhere for it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Oh, okay, thank you. I didn't know I muted. So now let's round up. Timlain, what's your closing remark on all these issues that we have discussed? Anyway, congratulations, Tosin.
Thank
Um, so you send the check later.
All right, let me start by congratulating Citizen Oluwatosin and his team. Congrats, it's well deserved. Um,
thank
it's going to be greater heights from here.
you. Amen.
So, regarding conclusion, I would conclude as I always do, and it's going to be political. So, since Oluwatosin mentioned something that Buhari has set a precedence, um, not providing school self certificate, which is even the list of requirements. And we already have a candidate already that is coming up without even primary and secondary school leaving certificate. But I don't know how someone without such certificate has gone ahead to produce BSc certificates from the US. I mean, so there are so many questions people were asking during Buhari's time, which were covered up by defense or counterattacks, what I know as counterattacks. And because people were really tired, they didn't have the energy to start dragging it, except for the weak PDP opposition in those days. If PDP had been so vibrant, they would have, dug so much about this man and tell Nigerians about what his weaknesses were. But we didn't know, and people fell for the propaganda that APC were peddling, and then they voted for Buhari. And I want everybody today, this 2015 has gone, you cannot go and rewrite the past, but you have today forward to make changes. So if you see anything that is being misappropriated in any candidate's profile, you should challenge it. You should challenge it. If Peter Obi has said that he left money in Anambra covers before he left and it is not true, challenge it. If Atiku has said he has done something when he was deputy vice president under President Obasanjo, please challenge it. And you know it is false. Please challenge it. Let us just come out and let us know what we are getting into. Let there no be question marks. There shouldn't be question marks. We have suffered too long. We need somebody that will have the political will when we cry out that please, oh, education needs this, and the person will do it. Security needs this, the person will do it. How do we know this? It is accessibility. Who is accessible? When you clamor for something and the person does it, that's when you know that you have the right person. So let us have our political senses at alert. At this time, it is a very critical time. Someone made an analysis about the coming election. Say whoever wins the election will most probably hold on to that office for 8 years. Calculate 8 years with 2021 that we are now. It's going to be 2029, 2022, and by 2023 it's going to be 2023. It's going to be 2031. Look at your age. How many children do you think you can raise in this kind of community called Nigeria? Should we keep encouraging best brains to leave the country? Because that is the only place they will be appreciated. So who then is going to build our dear nation if everybody leaves? We should think deeply about all of these things. They are very important. So we should not make the same political mistake we made in 2015 and the one by extension that we made in 2019. Everybody knows that it is obviously a political mistake. So let us not make the same mistake. I believe registration has ended for PVC. We can no longer tell you to go and register, but go and collect your PVC if you registered. Please, and make sure you come out and vote for the right person in your conscience. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tumlain. Tosin.
Yeah, thank you very much, friends, for joining the show today. And if you're watching, please help share it. Even if you have shared it before, please share it again. Um, I like talking politics. It is my cup of tea. Uh, Please go and collect your PVC. To register for the PVC is not enough, but collecting it is paramount. After collecting it, make plans to go vote on election day. Make sure you don't sell your vote. After voting, wait until your vote is counted. It is when you vote finish and run go out, and only few people are at the polling unit that the thugs can come and destruct the voting process. But when everybody is there as an army to watch over the vote, they're not born them well. Look at what happened in the last election in Lagos State. One of the Tinubu thugs that want to come and destruct the electoral process, they descended on him and almost kill him. So please let us be political aware that the problem we are presently in Nigeria is it requires solution, and we can solve that by voting a competent person come 2023. 2023 is a do or die affair, especially for the youth. Let us show them the strength of our youthfulness. Let us show them that the country belongs to us and doesn't belong to the old generation. They have tried and they should go and sit down. Kan lọ sẹ́ńpẹ́, ẹ̀yin bàbá ẹ sẹ́ńpẹ́, kan lọ sẹ́ńpẹ́. It is our time now. God bless you.
All right, thank you. Those who say they should go and sempe. I guess maybe next week we are going to discuss politics proper. And one of these days we are going to arrange some obedient people so that we can query them, we can ask them questions that touch the heart, and investigate and I guess it is due that we talk about it. At least maybe all this is a tour around the world. We can start from that even, and then discuss other candidates as well. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments. Please help us share if you have not already. We're going to be back again next week. Today, because we are all education passionate, and security, we talked about it, the guy that was arrested. Next week, we are going to be talking, most likely, politics proper. So please do make it a point to join us. It's 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And thank you to all the girls. Thank you to Mlayin, Village Boy in absentia, and Citizen Tosin. And once again, congratulations on the Afro Palace. If you have not downloaded it, please go and download it. Afro Palace, especially if you are in UAE, if you are based in the UAE, or you plan to come do something, maybe come to UAE for job seeking or for tourism, you should download it. Thank you very much. We will be back again next week, Saturday. Thank you. Bye bye from all of us.